it's been a week. But I do want to, I don't know, be a little authentic with you, kind of tell you guys what's been going on and how we've been handling it, because I really think a big part of being successful in any kind of business is to learn how to roll with the punches, how to handle things, how to solve problems. I don't do particularly well with change, and there is a lot of change coming, most of which we did not choose. Just a quick update on like everything that's been going on. We do not own this home. It is a home that we are renting because we don't know exactly what we want. When we build a home, we want to be able to stay there for a long time. But as our kids grow, I know that our needs will change. And I do also know that as the business grows, our needs will change. The owner of our home has decided to sell, which I totally understand. And so we find ourselves now having to find another place to live. 45 minutes after we found out that we were going to have to move and find another home, the water pump in our vehicle went out, and before we could find a safe place to pull over, our car broke down. Now, I will say, luckily, we were already in the market for shopping for a new car, but we really did like to have 2 vehicles. We were already on the path to getting another vehicle, but we just were not expecting to have to do it so soon. And then, those 2 things are very big things, but combined with the business, we are changing a lot of things. We just started another YouTube channel. Now that we are moving our home, we are also moving our business. We are adding another employee to the mix of everything, and it's just, my head is spinning. And then I know that this is probably not like on the biggest list of things, but as I was looking for another vehicle, I dropped my phone on the concrete and I cracked it. So it's like, icing on the cake, cherry on top. I don't know. So that being said, there's just been, it has been a whirlwind of emotions. Being somebody who already feels emotions so deeply, it's been a time. I'm just gonna say it's been a time. So life has been really stressful, and I'd love to be able to come on here and tell you guys that I handled everything perfectly, but that would be a lie, because I am human, and I have learned so much. I've been so blessed to have had so many experiences that have taught me how to live with anxiety. And I'm just going to be honest with you that it has not been the easiest of weeks for me. Did I cry? Yes. Did I have that catastrophic, like, the world is ending moment? Yes. And I'm laughing about it now, but it really wasn't funny in the moment. At the end of the day, the things that happened, and I can't make them unhappen. Because the truth is, even if the house thing wasn't a thing, and even if the car thing wasn't a thing, like, inevitably change is gonna come. And so I have to make this choice of whether or not I'm going to fight change, or am I going to adjust to it? And that sounds easier said than done. But here's what I've done. And the reason why I'm making this video is, for one, I know a lot of you guys really care about us and you really support us. And because I love you, I do want to let you in on the parts of our lives that make us who we are. And this season is no different. In the end, I'm going to come out on the other side. I get to choose how I come out on the other side. But there are things that I've learned in the past, and there are things that I'm having to learn now that are really getting me through very difficult times in life, which right now I'd hardly say it was difficult. It is difficult, but it's not like everybody's healthy. Gratitude really goes a long way. When I'm super stressed out about stuff, I think about all of the things that I should be grateful for. And it doesn't make the feeling go away, but it makes it a lot easier to bear. I think a lot of times we have this toxic positivity lifestyle where you can't feel negative feelings because they make you uncomfortable, or they make the people around you uncomfortable. So the first thing that people want to do is to cheer you up. And that isn't always okay. Sometimes we just need the freedom to feel an emotion so we can let it go. Because if we don't truly let go of an emotion, especially a negative one, then we bury it. And that's no bueno for anybody. So here's some things that I've done this week that have really, really helped me. And if you are a person who is going through a lot of change or going through a really big struggle, whatever it may be, maybe some of these tips will help you. First thing that I did after each moment where bad news happened was that I acknowledged the feelings. I acknowledged that I felt angry, or that I felt hopeless, or I felt really stressed out. And I acknowledged those feelings because I didn't want to say, no, I don't want to feel those right now. I'm going to bury them down. And I took a moment, and yes, I cried. I did have moments where I was like, why am I even doing this? Like, it would be so much easier to, just get a 9-to-5 job. It would be so much easier just to do blah, 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 and I let myself feel them. But then there's this moment when you're feeling your feelings that you have to decide to let it go. Because, my friend, I'm telling you, you don't want to linger in those negative emotions any longer than you have to. Give yourself a moment. Tell yourself it's okay to feel them. But then you got to let them go because they're just dragging you down. The emotion of it itself is just telling you that something is wrong, that something inside of you is uncomfortable with what's going on in your environment, what's going on around you, and you should absolutely listen to those feelings. The second thing that I did after I acknowledged the feelings was to accept what was going on. So I have to accept and acknowledge the fact that things are not going the way that I've planned them to. Because in those moments when you feel all the emotions, it's very hard to accept. You become in denial, and then it paralyzes you into not wanting to do anything. So what I do is, first, I acknowledge my emotions, and I acknowledge what's really happening, right? Give myself that kind of reality. And then I acknowledge what's going on outside of me, and I accept the fact that I can't change that. If I'm going to sit here and complain and whine and be upset, that's great. But at some point I have to let all that go and accept that I can't change that, but there are things that I can do. The only thing that I can control is myself. So I'm going to be a part of the solution. I'm sitting here making this video for you so that something even more greater can come out of a series of very fastly, put together. Now I'm at this point, and I've had to do this multiple times. Sometimes you have to go back to step 1 and then go to step 2 again, and then go back to step 1 and then go to step 2, and then maybe you're at step 3, but then you go back to step 1. This is not linear by any means. It's like you go where you need to go, one action at a time, right? When I was dealing with drug abuse, a big thing that really stuck with me is that sometimes you have to take things day by day. Sometimes you have to take things moment by moment. And sometimes you have to take things minute by minute. And there were times this week where I was taking things minute by minute. There were times this week where I went back to step 1, and that was the minute, right? That was my minute. I was staying in step 1 for 1 minute. Then if I needed another minute, then I gave myself another minute. If I needed another minute, I gave myself, and sometimes it was moment by moment. Sometimes it was periods of time where I was fine, and then periods of time where I was like, what are we doing? But one step at a time. We dealt with the house issue first. We found a home that we're going to rent because we're still not ready to buy. And then we found a car. 2 really big issues that we just kind of, right out the bat, took care of. As for the business, sometimes that's still a moment by moment business, moment by moment situation. So then after that, I come up with a plan. I acknowledge my feelings. I accept what cannot be changed. I take 1 step at a time. I make a plan, but I don't marry that plan because sometimes things don't go as planned, as this week has showed us. So, you make a plan, but you just be prepared to dodge and dive. You know what I mean? Ooh, right? Take a different detour. Do something different. And the last thing that I did that I want to make sure that you guys know to be able to do, a really big tip, is that if you need help, ask for it. I think one of the big things in our culture is that we don't want to ask for help. We want to seem like we have it all together, but we're human beings. If we're human beings at the end of the day, and we were made to be social creatures, then we're not meant to go through things alone. We can't assume that other people know what we're going through unless we tell them. So I would always encourage you to find some trusted people in your life. If you need to see a therapist, there's no shame in going to see a therapist. I see a therapist I go to therapy all the time. Having some kind of connection at the end of the day with people that you feel happy with, even if you're not sharing all of your deep, dark secrets, but having some kind of exchange where you don't feel so alone would do wonders for you. It does wonders for me. It does wonders for everybody that I know. So I would just say, like, the last thing that I did that I always make sure to do is to ask for help when I need it, and to be really honest about how I feel, and be honest about what I need. I don't always need advice. I think one of the big things is when I share a negative emotion with somebody, that the first thing that they want to do is give advice to make the negative feeling stop. Sometimes I just don't want to be alone in the feelings until I have time to let them go, or until I'm ready to let them go. But it's a journey. It's a process. This week has been crazy. But I'm okay, and we're going to be okay. I acknowledge the fact that I have a lot of negative feelings about the way that things are going. I think that anybody would. I acknowledge the fact that I can't control what's going on in my life all the time, but I can only control me and how I respond to it and how I come out on the other end of it. I'm just taking it one step at a time. Some days that's day by day. Sometimes that's moment by moment, and that's okay. Sometimes I have to go back to step one. I make a plan. We've made multiple plans. Those plans didn't work out, so we've made new plans. We just have to be very, very flexible with that. And I'm asking for help. I'm being very overly communicative with Joe. I want him to know exactly what's going on with me at all times, and let him know exactly what I need from him. Because sometimes, I just need him to sit with me while I feel that emotion, and then I let it go. But I'll keep you updated, and I will let you know how everything goes. Keep an eye out for the future vlogs, and we love you guys. Until next time, peace.